Sometimes our bad habits turn into the best ideas. Am I right? Let me explain what I mean. I have a habit of shopping on Facebook Marketplace, looking for things that I don't need. But that bad habit led me to a great idea to make this particular video, which is about building an entire podcast setup. Quality setup. That's the key word. Quality podcast setup for under $200. So there's 3 reasons why I want to do this video. Number 1, I can't help from buying new equipment. I can't help myself. So I get to buy some new gear that I don't need. Number 2, I'm forcing myself to limit myself to a budget. When I buy this new equipment, it's got to be under $200 for the whole setup. And number 3, the most important reason I'm doing this video is for you, to help you be able to find the right equipment and understand how to do it, what's good, what's not good, and be able to piece it together on whatever budget you have. So here's what I'm looking for. Number 1, a microphone. Any podcast or video content needs great audio to make it work. Video comes secondary. Believe it or not, video comes secondary even in YouTube content. If the quality of the audio is bad, people aren't going to listen, people aren't going to watch, they're going to turn you off. So I'm looking for a quality microphone, number 1. I would love to find an XLR mic, not a simple USB mic that plugs into my computer, which there are plenty of quality ones out there. I have one at my secondary setup over here that I use. It's a USB condenser mic, and I love it. That's not what I'm looking for. I want to find a quality XLR mic with the XLR cable, which means I'm going to also need a USB interface to plug that XLR mic into, and then plug that interface into my laptop. And I'm going to also need a stand for the mic, something that's going to prop it up at least high enough that it's going to pick up my voice loud enough and not sitting on my tabletop. That's primarily what I'm looking for. If I can find some headphones, fantastic. If I can find video, even better. But honestly, video is secondary. Now, the other stipulation, the only piece of equipment that I'm going to use once I build out this studio, this podcast setup, is my laptop. I'm not going to find a laptop under $200. I'm going to use what I have. If you're watching this, you probably have all the tools you need, whether it's your phone or your laptop, to start in that way. So that's the only bit of equipment I'm going to use when I build out the setup. And let's jump into Marketplace and see what we can find. As I scrolled through this a few minutes ago, there were a couple that jumped out at me that I saved. Number 1, this $50 Gear USB microphone. I saved it because I like the price and I like the gear that comes with it. I'm not convinced that's a quality enough mic for what I'm looking for. I think I can find better. And there's a few others that I found, the Neewer NW700s. I don't know much about these mics, so I'll do a little bit more research, but for $70, it looks like it comes with 2 mics and potentially even the XLR cables that come with it. So I'm going to save those as well. Again, not convinced that's what I want, but it's there. There's a few others right here. These really caught my attention. These are Audio Technica XLR condenser mics. It's a set of 2 that comes with the boom arms for both of them and the XLR cables. Now, I'm not going to go too much farther because I still will need some sort of recording device, something to capture the audio. So I'll save these. These are the ones, at least for now, I'm most interested in, but I'll come back to. A couple other things I did look at. Number 1 was USB interface. 2 that I have saved here are this Jeebox, this PreSonus Jeebox USB interface. What was the other one? There was an MX or an M Audio 1 input USB interface, 1 XLR input USB interface, also for $25. And we'll take a deeper look at these things later. Now, I don't want you to think I just see things and I buy them off Marketplace. Again, my encouragement is if you find something on Marketplace that you do like, do the research, find out if it's what you're looking for, find out if it's good quality, if you can test it before you purchase. Okay, so I'm meeting a guy here at Meyer for my first equipment pickup. I'm purchasing the Evo 4 interface, and we'll take a look at it here in just a minute. So I just picked up the Evo 4, this interface here, and I'm standing outside here on a 25-degree day, locked out of my car. Not technically locked out, but my wife is inside shopping with the key, and I'm not going to carry a piece of equipment into the store. So I will stand out here and wait in 25 degrees with my new bit of equipment, and hopefully she will come out soon. All right, I'm picking up my second piece of equipment, and it's probably the least important bit of equipment. It's a camera. It's a 4K Jeebox. Never heard of that brand, but it comes with a light. It says it's a 4K camera. I don't have high hopes for it, but it fits the budget, and thought I would go ahead and give it a shot. Since it gets me a camera, it gets me a light, and keeps me under the $200 for this setup. So I'm just waiting for the seller to show up, and I'll check it out and report back to you. Look at that sunrise. It is a beautiful Friday morning. I got up early this morning. It's 7 degrees here, and I am driving an hour. I'm about 10 minutes from my destination. I've been driving for almost an hour now for the last bit of equipment for this podcast setup that I'm building for less than $200. Now, the reason, I wouldn't normally drive this far for a piece of equipment or anything really on Marketplace unless it was that valuable or that great of a deal. And that's what this is. This is that great of a deal. I found an Audio Technica AT2020 microphone. The most critical piece of equipment you need for a podcast is your microphone. I'm excited to pick this up, get it home, test it out, assemble the whole thing, and show you what a podcast setup with legit equipment, not cheap equipment, but really legit equipment, can sound like, can look like, can be like for under $200 if you know what you're looking for. So stick with me. We'll put it all together when I get home, and I'll show you what it looks like and how it sounds. Okay, so it's been just about 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks, since I started filming this video, and I have everything I need for a video podcast setup. And the most important thing is, not only do I have what I need, it's quality gear, and it all came in just under $200. I'll tell you the total price here in just a moment, but here's everything I found. I've got the Evo 4. This is a 2-channel USB interface. I have the Jeebox. Never heard of this brand. It's a 4K HD webcam. And then the thing that really topped it all off, this is the Audio Technica streaming podcasting pack. It's the AT2020 condenser mic. It comes with the boom arm with the embedded XLR cable in it, and a set of headphones. Okay, let's take a closer look at some of this equipment. So for starters, I'm going to go with the microphone, the AT2020. This is a cardioid condenser microphone. You've heard me talk about these mics plenty on this channel, not necessarily this particular mic, but the cardioid condensers are large diaphragm microphones that pick up a lot of detail in your voice, but they also pick up a lot of ambient room noise and anything else that may be happening in other places in your house, your office, or your studio. So it's not one I would typically recommend for this particular studio space, but we're going to give it a shot because it's a great microphone, highly rated, and it was a great deal. This one, again, the kit came with the boom arm here, the XLR cable embedded into that, and the pair of headphones that I didn't honestly think I was going to find. So this kit right here with the mic, the boom arm, the cable, and the headphones retails for $120 for the whole kit. The mic itself, if you were just to buy the mic, is $99 on its own. I purchased this kit, this single kit, for $75. Now there's more to this story that I'll save for a little bit later in the video, but for now, $75 for the majority of the equipment that I needed. Let me show you the interface. This is the Evo 4. It's a 2-channel USB interface. It's got the combo line in and XLR jacks on the back. You can also plug in an instrument in the front that will take the place of the first input here. So if you have an instrument and a microphone, you're plugging into 1 and 2, or 2 mics, you can get 2 people on a podcast. But the thing I like about this is it does have 48 volts of phantom power that can power a condenser mic, which is what I ended up finding that I just showed you. It has auto gain control here that you can press, and it will set your gain automatically. So if I didn't have headphones to listen in to how it sounded, this would set it at an ideal level for me already. The Evo 4 retails for $130 on its own, brand new. I found this used on Marketplace for $75. So for all the equipment I need for an audio podcast, $75 for the USB interface and $75 for the mic, the stand, the cable, and the headphones. I'm at $150 total for good, solid equipment for an audio podcast. But I wasn't done there because I had some money left over. And so I went ahead and I looked for a camera. Now, cameras are hard to find. Quality cameras, webcams, are hard to find for $50 or less. But I think I found something that just might work. This is the Jeebox 4K HD webcam. And you can see maybe why I already like this webcam over and above others. It says it's 4K, but this comes with a light mounted to it. The beauty of this, over and above any other webcam that I looked at, is because I realized when I started making this video, I made a promise that the only equipment that I would use for this video, for this podcast setup, would be the equipment that I purchased on Marketplace, minus my laptop, which I will continue to use for this video. Which meant I can't use my big studio lights and my background lights that I have. I can only use my overhead lights unless I found a light or a webcam with a built-in light on it that could light up my face to make it a decent image. It's got the cable with it. It even comes with a nice little stand that I'm going to have to actually raise up because it doesn't raise high enough for me. Before we do that, let me tell you that this webcam retails at $75. I found it on Marketplace for $35. So for a grand total of $185, I have a 4K webcam with a light, a $100 microphone or $120 retail podcast kit, and a $130 USB interface that I found, again, for a grand total used, lightly used on Marketplace for $185. I'm ready to see how it looks and how it sounds. Are you? Let's give it a shot. So this is it. This is the full-on podcast setup that I purchased on Marketplace for a grand total of $185. Now, I told you what this equipment would cost retail. I don't know if you've been paying attention. You've been writing it down. You've been doing the math in your head, but it's $325 worth of equipment that I purchased, used, barely used, or not used at all, for $185. Now, the Evo 4 has some fantastic features. It has the auto gain. It has a 48-volt phantom power that's powering this condenser mic. It has a monitor knob here where you can change out the function of that so you can hear yourself. You can hear the mix coming from your computer. It's got auto gain that if you don't have headphones and you don't know how loud you are and you don't have meters to read it, it will set it at an ideal level for you. The condenser mic was used about 3 times according to the seller, and I believe the shape that this thing is in and the cable with no kinks in it, the spring and the way that this boom arm holds in place, I believe that it was barely used. Now, a word to the wise, he purchased this condenser mic, used it 3 times, and decided a dynamic mic was better for his space, which is why he sold this, which is why I tell you all the time on this channel that if you don't have a well-treated space, purchase a dynamic microphone for your first podcast. Now, the way I'm recording all of this is through my laptop, which I said was the only piece of equipment that I was going to use and the software that I had built into it. So I'm recording right now on OBS, which is a free software. So you don't even have to buy anything to record like this. OBS, free software. There's a little bit of a learning curve to it, but you set it up with your mic input and your output and your camera. You choose what you want. You hit record right there, and it saves everything, records everything directly into your computer. So I told you there was more to the story of this mic kit that I purchased this morning, and it's the real reason I drove an hour from home to pick it up and an hour back before I started my workday this morning. And that's because it wasn't just one kit for $75. It was actually two kits for $150. Now I know that is slightly cheating and going over and above my $200 mark, but you see, that other kit is not something I need for this setup. I just happened to go ahead and purchase both instead of one because, as I told you earlier in this episode, I can't resist a great deal. So for $150, I bought two of these kits. The second mic is here just to show you. I've got a second one. The boom arm that came with it is actually holding up this camera above me here that you've seen bits and pieces of throughout this video. So I hope this video has been an encouragement to you that you can find really quality, gently used gear on Marketplace, on eBay, and other places used in your area, that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on decent equipment. You can spend $100 or maybe $200 on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of equipment to make it sound and look really good for your podcast. So if you're out there, you're looking for a bit of equipment, you find something you've got some questions about, if I have any experience with that camera or that microphone or that boom or whatever it is you're looking for, I would be happy to share it. Leave your questions, leave your comments below, or hit me up on Instagram, message me, and let me know what you think of this setup. And if you have any questions about what maybe a piece of equipment that you're looking for, I would love to help you out. I'll see you in the next video.